1 minute. So make sure you decide who is going to speak 1 minute.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes? Perfect. We are gonna go reverse order, and we are gonna apologize to South Asia and Central Asia, because no matter what order we go, you will be in the middle. So East Asia. East Asia. We were told you are very disciplined. So who is speaking on behalf of East Asia? They do it. Go for it.
Okay. I will hold this. Okay.
Can we get the attention of everyone, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm come from Chinese Taipei, Amanda Lin. I have a little nervous because my poor English, so please give us. Okay. We discuss about question 2. What does your AC need to be more effective? So I decrease some answers about the first is organization activity, but not single, because we are an older organization, but not the single things, because we want to improve our English course or about Syria, but we want to organize all the things together. And the sixth is more about international activity. We think this is very good for the AC Axelis form, but we think it's too long. Every 2 years, we have one time for. So if I can add more about international activity, I think it's better than this. Okay, the third is add more activity about social action. It's very similar with the international activity. About sexual action, we have more power. And use different influence about Axley and AC. For example, Japan has very powerful athlete and a powerful athlete star. So, but if we can to use our influence in interaction to the NOC and AC, we have more power because athlete is a very important. Is the first one. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
So the last one is an aid country to country, because not every country have more powerful AC organization, but we will have many countries to help each other. I think it's better. Thank you.
So if I hear you well, more supports for English courses, different type of resources to empower your athlete commission, but also trying to match the athlete commissions that are already functioning very well and give them the opportunity to mentor the athlete commission that are not maybe as advanced. On the point of the athlete forum, International Athlete Forum happening every 2 years, is a very good point. The idea of having the Continental Athletes Forum, and some tables are still debating, really. And it's the Iranian table, so it's my fellow countrymen, I don't know what to tell them. But that's why we introduced the Continental Athlete Forum, to make sure that at least at the continental level we bring more interaction. And then also last year we had the first international town hall remotely. So fully agree with you, but I will ask you to come when I meet our director of finance department in a few weeks to ask him for an annual athletes forum. I think I will need some support from your table. But thank you. We are going to go to I'm going to break my rules to South Asia and Central Asia because they were debating, so they have a lot to share clearly. So maybe South Asia first.
And so for us, I think the points that have been made is, point one is more handholding for new ACs that are being formed. The second being more ideas for different projects that the ACs could take up. The third is there are a lot of resources provided by the IOC, but can these resources maybe translated into the local language so that we can reach a larger number of athletes? The fourth is more ideas to communicate to a larger number of athletes across the board. And yeah, I think the fifth is also the funding solution. Coming from India, we've got a large country. We've got many athletes, and the grant amount may sometimes not be enough. So is there a solution to that? Okay. So for countries that have a larger number of athletes. So
that's a good point. I think if we manage to provide enough funding to India and China, then together we have covered 25% of the world. So
yep.
We'll look into that. On the point of the language is a very important one. As you know, the ATI 365 resources are available in 6 languages, and the learning courses are available in 11 languages. But that's far from all the languages in the world. So one thing that we are looking into is, and you heard it earlier from Emma, that we are looking into developing a mobile application for ATI 365. This will be ready for Paris 2024 Olympic Games. In the version after Paris, it will not be, unfortunately, for the version before Paris, but for the version post-Paris, we are looking to using artificial intelligence, AI, to make sure that actually the content can be translated in any languages, no matter where athletes are coming from. So that's the vision we are working towards. Hopefully, it will be ready for after Paris. Keep me to that promise, and then hopefully we can deliver it. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Arthur.
I just want to also add that what we have seen through the activity grant is a few athlete commissions translating resources, whatever they may be, into their local languages, and those costs being funded by the grant as well, because like Kaveh said, we have limitations on how many languages we can do on Athlete 365, but there are funds there for you if you want to take an extra step and do something else for your athletes with the translation in your country.
Thanks, Arthur. Coming to Central Asia.
Good afternoon. My name is Guljan, and I'm representing Turkmenistan. And our answer is to have a voice, be represented in NOC executive boarding, to have more power, and to make networks stronger, and to sharing with other athletes commissions, and to have a more power given by IOC, NOC, and federations.
Thank you. There was thank you. There was a lot of reference to more empowerment to the commission within the NOC and also decision making. So we are working very hard with OCA in this one. As you have seen already at the IOC and OCA level, athletes commissions are represented within the executive board. In fact, that's the guidelines to all NOCs, and all NOCs must follow these guidelines. We also have to appreciate that different NOCs, they might need different times. You know, some need a bit more time than others to implement that, but we are fully with you. So that table, you have got a full commitment from both OCA and IOC. Well, you even had OCA representative on the table, so I don't know if Tony was provoking that. Just keeping the spirit of going to the tables randomly, so you don't know which one we are going to go next is Southeast Asia.
Hi, Terry here from Southeast Asia. So we have quite a few points. The first one would be more power within the AC in the National Federation. So creating National Federation ACs, so to have a vote. Yeah. The second would be for the NOC to give more interest in the various ACs and their works. So example, attending certain events, just showing up when they are invited. Yeah, so they might be big scale events or even small scale events because that's where the action happens. Yeah. The third one will be training for new AC members when joining an AC. So we heard that there's actually a newly launched course for new AC members. So like a download on, I guess best practices, what to have, what to expect. Because sometimes people just go into the AC to get elected, but they don't know what to do per se. Yeah. There's no clear scope, but this will help. The next will be good governance procedures within, for example, to ensure guidelines compliance within, to comply within the IOC guidelines. But specifically, we also highlighted within NOCs and NOC ACs. So the reason being that within certain countries, maybe example, governance or finance might look different. Yeah, so different governing principles on that. The next would be a dedicated person to support the work of the AC and the NOC, so like a liaison officer of sorts, because there's a lot of administration, a lot of things that are going on. Yeah, so it would be great to have extra pair of hands. Someone fully committed or maybe even part-time. 2 more points. The next point is on more sharing of AC best practices from ACs around the world. Yeah, so example from Americas or the EMEA region. Yeah, so example maybe through a newsletter. The last one would be to produce a strategic plan, with an expert. So example, having a subject matter expert on maybe a particular topic. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A couple of key points, if you don't mind, I'll highlight. Thanks a lot for the reference to the e-learning course about how the Athlete Commission can be more effective. So on all that, the more we can support you, the better. And also the dedicated support from the NOC administration. I'm sure you can already all see the benefit of having Tony and his team within OCA, and that's something that hopefully will be also be implemented at the NOC level. Excuse me. One point that I want to mention, because it was raised in this table and that table about the collaboration with the NOC and the empowerment of the Athlete Commission. I think this is something that it has to definitely be approached from both sides of the line, if you like. It's very important that as athlete representative, you show and you demonstrate your value for your NOC. You show that you are all on the same team. At the end of the day, you want to represent your athletes, you want the best for the athletes within your country, and hopefully the National Olympic Committee and National Federation should all and do have all the same goal. So if you see sometimes hesitation, which can be the case, make sure that you take the collaboration and you take the constructive approach. You show to your National Olympic Committee and National Federation the value that you can bring to them and also how you can help them to pass their messages to the athlete community. So try to make sure that you take that constructive approach and build relationship with your NOC. We are coming to the table with the most debates, West Asia.
Diala Shaheen from Palestine. We actually thought about the question from 2 points of views, or what do we want from ourselves and AC, and from the IOCOS. So from the IOCOS, we mentioned 2 points. First one, which is mentioned before, and we seconded, regarding decision-making and giving more power for the AC in terms of decision-making. And that could be through the IOC and through the NOC. And the other element is the financial element, which has to do with the potential to cover a larger number of athletes in terms of any implementation or projects that are being done by the AC. In terms of the AC itself, what do we want from ourselves to do more is, first, we mentioned the point of letting the athletes know more about the AC, its responsibilities, its role, and that awareness would lead more athletes to be motivated to be involved. The other thing is we talked about the importance of the members of the AC, and that includes two things. First, having a representation from each sport in the NOC, and the fact that we were hoping to have a multidisciplinary team that would include medical people, it would include people with expertise in sports management and marketing in order to be able to benefit the athletes, of course, along the athletes that are part of the AC. And finally, there was also a point raised about making sure to involve non-member athletes in the AC's activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think some of the points that you raised about the different expertise from within the NOC, that again comes back to that point that hopefully when you can establish that very positive and constructive collaboration with the NOC, you can bring those expertise on the table. And again, you can demonstrate to your NOC why it's important that they provide such a support and what a benefit even brings to them. You know, that's always important to show. We have one more question to make sure that you are having a well-deserved coffee break. So 10 more minutes group discussion. We can go, I keep forgetting that I'm the one who actually has the clicker. If your athlete commission has not applied for the funding, either from the Olympic Solidarity or OCA, why not? Maybe we don't get to the why not too much, but more about what do you need to make sure that you are able to apply. You know, what is the reason? Is it because you don't have the administration support from the NOC, or you don't know what the process is? What is it blocking you from applying for the OCA and the IOC Athlete Commission grant? And if you have applied the previous year, what are the things you have learned that you think is going to help you to even do that better this year? So 10 minutes group discussion, and then we will do a quick wrap up and go to the coffee break.
2-3 minutes left. So if you can come to a conclusion on your table, 2-3 minutes left.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are going to come to Southeast Asia first. Yeah, Southeast Asia. Please get up, and the microphone is on its way.
Yes, Diki, come on.
There's a pep talk going on. It's like, yes, we can do it. 1, 2, 3, go. Who is it? Uh-oh.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm from the Singapore Athletes Commission, and I represent Southeast Asia. So I think some of the reasons why not is because, like for instance, for the Singapore NOC, they actually provide support, and it is easier to, it's more accessible for us to get the funds there than to apply elsewhere. So we basically, our NOC leaves some funds for us to use as well. Other reasons are that we are a fairly new AC, some of us, and we didn't know about the process of applying the grants and did not know where to look for the resources as well as the information. And another point would be manpower in delivering the activity. Because essentially, right, the AC members are voluntary roles. We do not have enough capacity or time to commit, and therefore there's a lack of manpower in delivering said events or stuff like that. And lastly would be the language problem. I think this was brought up by the Thailand AC. So language problem, they don't understand the information that is given online or the information that they look for. And or like the athletes, they don't understand all this information that are available for them. So yeah, these are our challenges. Thank you.
So again, actually similar to the previous question, clearly the question around administration support from the NOC is coming out very, very clearly, and the manpower and the support for the Athlete Commission members as volunteers, and then also heard the point about making sure you know what the process is and where to access information. With that being said, it's the first time I hear an Athlete Commission saying that we are not applying because the NOC is giving us so much money, we don't need more. So that's also good to know that Singapore is having that case. So well done to Singapore NOC to giving so much support to the Athlete Commission that they don't need the grants from the IOC or OCA. We are going to go to West Asia. I think that's my only way of keeping them quiet, to give them the floor so they can speak to the room. Yeah, the microphone will come. Go, go, go. We can hear you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohammed Al-Nakhi from the UAE Athletes Commission and representing West Asia. So in our discussion, half the ACs have applied and half didn't. So the ones who didn't apply, the main reason is still new and or lack of the knowledge and the process and what to use the funds on. But during the discussion, you know, some of the ACs shared their best practices on what they've been using the fund on for the past few years, and how to work with the stakeholders and what are some of the challenges that they faced. Some of them are communication with reaching the right stakeholders, you know, admin support to deliver, and what to focus on. A lot of them have focused to use the funds because the fund is not huge when you take into account all the different sports federations and athletes and who to target. A lot of them targeted the high potential athletes and the future talents. So I think now after this forum, we do know the process, we do know the fund available, and I think hopefully you'll see a lot more action from the ACs after this forum. Thank you.
Well, that was a strong commitment, so we will come, I will check, and you definitely receive emails from Tony and Arthur. So, South Asia.
I think the first point would be, before we apply to any funding, the NOC should have a visionary leader or leadership team who is able to help you build that strategic framework, have a planning session with the Athletes Commission. And at the end of the day, the funding request is actually done by the NOC. And both Athletes Commission and NOC should be able to work together as a team and request for these fundings and also have a plan in place. Like everybody said, my last point would be having the right support system. Like every Athletes Commission, everyone's consists of current active athletes, so you need to have that support coming from the NOC, have a task force to help you out with your projects to make it success, so that next year you could go back and ask for more funding if it's required. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are running out of time. I have managed to destroy Tony's incredible timing in just one session, so I acknowledge that. I'm not coming from a sport that you run against the time, and my way of killing my opponent was the longer we could compete, the bigger chance I had to win, so I'm probably applying this here. You go first, next.
Hi again. I think you remember my name. My name is Ruhullah, and you know where I'm from. I think actually after discussion and some of us have applied and some of not. And those who haven't applied yet is the most reason is lack of information. And in our opinion, the way that we can learn something and we can apply is NOC. NOC must give us information a lot, give information to Athlete Commission a lot and support them more to know more, because as the others say that the Athlete Commission, some of them is new and they don't have enough information and they need support from NOC.
Yep. Thank you very much. I think we are going to go to East Asia right away as the final table, but if I'm not mistaken, all 4 tables have spoken about the importance of the support from the NOC. And what I mentioned earlier is that that means how important it is that you build that constructive collaboration between yourself and NOC, and you demonstrate the value that you can bring to their work, so then also they will support you even more. East Asia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rika from Japan. And for this table, some NOCs already applied and used the supports. For big NOCs like China, we need more function, like staff funding, condition and program, not like money. And unfortunately, some of AC didn't know the program which IOC provided. So they just know that how IOC supports for AC. So once the chair is changed, some information needs to pass to new AC. Thank you.
That's very good point, actually, the transfer of knowledge. That's part of being able to have an effective athlete commission, because otherwise, every time the commission changes or the chair changes, then the new commission has to start from scratch. So very important point about the transfer of knowledge. You have heard more than you could wish for from me, so I apologize on behalf of the entire country. Coffee break. Thank you. Sit down. Not only I managed to destroy his timing, I think I managed to destroy the whole program.
So basically, you took the coffee break, you broke the tables, you did everything. So no coffee break, because we don't have time. So we still have basically 1 session. We will not change places. It's okay, guys. Photo session later, please.
Yeah. So my name is Nadine Douani. I'm currently a member of the OCA and IOC Athlete Commission member, and I am also a certified IOC safeguarding officer. I will start by introducing the team at the IOC. We have Kirsty, Gloria, Scott, Tina, and Carrie. And you can always feel free to contact them at any time. Okay. I would like to start by showing you the statement that underpins the work of safeguarding at the IOC. All athletes have the right to safe sport which is fair, equitable, and free from harassment, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. In our session, we will be covering this topic, the IOC framework and Olympic Agenda 2020+5, what is safeguarding, forms of harassment and abuse in sport, how big is the problem, your role as athletes' representatives, and when concern arise. The IOC Framework and Olympic Agenda 2020+5. We have the IOC Consensus Statement, Sexual Harassment and Abuse in Sport in 2007. We have the IOC Consensus Statement, Harassment and Abuse, Non-Accidental Violence in Sport in 2016. We have the IOC Game Time Safeguarding Framework, the IOC Code of Ethics, Olympic Charter, IOC Athlete Commission Regulations, and Athletes' Rights and Responsibilities Declaration. And we always have to remember that our mission is to represent athletes within the Olympic movement and support them to succeed in their sporting and non-sporting career. The Athletes' Rights and Responsibilities Declaration, Athletes' Right, these declarations aspire to promote the ability and opportunity for athletes to the protection of mental and physical health, including a safe competition and training environment and protection from abuse and harassment. Athletes' responsibility. This declaration encourages athletes to act in accordance with the IOC Code of Ethics and be encouraged to report unethical behavior, including instances of doping, competition manipulation, prohibited discrimination, and abuse and harassment. The Olympic Agenda, this is our mandate for the next few years. And as you can see, it is focused on the athletes, on providing an environment free from harassment and abuse, and on protecting their physical and mental well-being. We will work across the three spheres to deliver our action plan. The IOC as global sport organization leading on the work on safe sport, the IOC as leader of the Olympic movement, and the IOC as the owner of the Olympic Games. Besides these two recommendations highlighted in the slide, we are also mandated by recommendation number 14 as part of the implementation of the reviewed basic principles of good governance, and also recommendation number 13 to continue to lead by example in corporate citizenship as part of the larger framework of human rights. What is safeguarding? What does safeguarding mean to you? Who can answer? Or who can tell me what does safeguarding mean to you? Does anyone have an answer? Oh. No?
Guard myself.
Please.
From too much training.
Okay. Does anyone want? Yeah, please. Chair, please.
Thank you. Guard myself from too much training, too much holding my breath. That's my sports.
Okay. Okay. So safeguarding falls under the broader umbrella of human rights, but includes poor practice that does not raise to the level of right violation, in the understanding that poor practice can also be harmful, and inaction can lead to an escalation that could result in more severe harm. We can see the circle of care. We have coaches, family, legal professional, and always safeguarding aims to prevent by minimizing risk, promote holistic approaches to welfare, and respond appropriately to concerns. The Swiss cheese metaphor. Imagine a pile of sliced Swiss cheese, cut from different blocks. Some holes will be lined. Some will be partly covered, and some will be completely blocked by the next slice of cheese, and you can see that on the picture. We also have a little mice, what we call enablers, that chew on the cheese and weaken our layer of protection. These layers are our safeguarding measures of protection. These can be risk assessment, policy, and procedure to improve prevention and response mechanism, reducing the access of persons with motivation to harass or abuse. For example, the implementation of safeguarding recruitment process. In this example, it is the safeguarding education and training layer, the one blocking the thread. You can see the red line. So safeguarding education is the layer blocking the threat from reaching to the athletes. For example, enabling participants to recognize signs of abuse and knowing how to report these concerns via appropriate channels. The largest the number of layers, the harder will be the trajectory from hazard to opportunity and harm. And we know that all systems have weak points. These weak points are represented in the holes of the Swiss cheese. Harassment and abuse in sport occurs in every sport, at all levels of participation, worldwide, from person in position of power, from peer to peer, by men and women. Risk situations specific to sport. We have normalized behavior, no pain, no gain. What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. My coach is God, extreme idealization, but put athletes at risk. A win at all cost mentality. Lack of layers of Swiss cheese. Risk situation inherent to sport are situations that can be used as enablers to harm others. These would be, for example, holes in the layer of Swiss cheese. Therapists acting as taxi drivers, coaches acting as parents, parents acting as coaches. All roles must be clearly defined and known by all, especially by the athletes and especially if they are children. Who needs that special protection? The IOC is committed in protecting everybody's rights in sport. The IOC places special attention on the protection of the rights and interests of the most vulnerable. Children fall for those under the age of 18, vulnerable groups including youth, women, disabled persons, LGBTQ+ persons, and elite athletes. Why is safeguarding so important? Long-term effects on physical and mental health, personality changes, avoidant to risk-seeking behaviors, example, alcohol abuse, doping, willingness to cheat. Weakens the architecture of the developing brain. In older people, it can lead to heart diseases, can lead to depression, addiction, and suicidal ideation. Forms of harassment and abuse. We have psychological abuse, we have physical abuse, sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and neglect. These 5 forms of harassment and abuse with the psychological abuse at the core. It is common to find more than one form of harassment and abuse happening at the same time. Harassment and abuse can be individual, interpersonal, and systemic. Forms of abuse in sport. We have the psychological abuse. Who can give me an example on psychological abuse? I know it has been a very long day, but I need you to wake up. And who can give me example on psychological abuse? Anyone?
If you have a bad practice or competition, then you're not able to, your coach won't talk to you or will ice you out or will ignore you. consistently.
Thank you. So, persistent attempt to manipulate and control, insult and degrading comments, body shaming, use of indifference as punishments are all examples of psychological abuse. Physical abuse can involve more than one abuser and more than one victim and may occur peer to peer. Examples is when athletes are encouraged or forced to use drugs or harmful substances to enhance performance or delay puberty. When athletes are forced to train or compete while injured. Withholding water or food as a form of punishment when training or competing, or when sanctions used by coaches involve inflicting pain. These are all examples of physical abuse. Sexual harassment and sexual abuse. It is important to note that sexual abuse does not necessarily involve a high level of violence. A child or young person may or may not be aware of what is happening. Sexual violence may involve physical contact and non-contact activities. Sexual exploitation is a form of sexual abuse. It occurs when an individual or group takes advantage of an imbalance of power to manipulate, to deceive a person into sexual activity in exchange for something the victim needs or wants, or for the financial advantage, or increased status of perpetrator or facilitator. Abusive sexual interaction may sometimes appear to be consensual if the victim has gone through the grooming process. Neglect can put athletes in danger and also have a long effect on their physical and mental well-being. Some examples include depriving an athlete of water or appropriate nutrition, depriving the athlete of sufficient rest or recovery, failure to provide a physical and emotional safe training environment, denial of access to appropriate medical care. Here we will watch a video, but before that, to empower and educate athletes on certain forms of abuse, we have developed some resources hosted on the Athlete 365 webpage. Here is a video on consenting to the conditions athletes train in and agreeing on what makes you feel comfortable.
Bodies are amazing. Look at all the cool things they can do. And you work hard to train it, feed it, and get it in the zone so you can be your personal best. Your coaches, your trainers, they're all trying to help you maximize your potential. And scrutinizing athletes' bodies can be part of that. But if someone asks you to do something that you aren't comfortable with, you might think, well, I guess I have to do it. That's just how it is in sport. Or that's just how medals are won. But here's the thing. You get to decide what you're okay with. Not your coach, teammates, trainer, doctor, or parents. You. Just you. And you choose what your boundaries are. That's consent. Whether in training, treatment, or anywhere else, consent means you decide who can touch your body and how. Consent means you have the right to know about and decide what goes into your body. Consent means you can't be forced to do something you don't want to do. And you can change your mind at any time. At the core, consent means your body is yours. So if you feel pressured by someone you feel has more authority, coerced, guilted, tricked, or bribed, that's not consent. And just because something happened before, that does not give automatic consent. Consent is a clear and enthusiastic yes. Setting boundaries can be challenging, especially when so much is on the line. And we often listen to those in power to help us improve and achieve. But athletes are people first. And you are always in control of your own body. Remember, if someone else crosses a boundary without your consent, that's never your fault. We all need to understand consent. and feel empowered to speak up when something isn't okay. Because every athlete deserves respect and a safe environment to train and compete. That's consent. That's safe sport.
Do we all agree with that? So we will set boundaries. Okay. How big is the problem? Minimal estimates in elite samples. Competition level and or 16 plus hours training per week are associated with higher exposure. The majority of studies reveal higher rates in girls and women, but some recent studies show higher number in male athletes too. These are the numbers in front of us. It's good to know that majority of the respondents, 28% to 46%, report that they did not disclose at all. Only a small proportion, 4 to 6%, chose to disclose from the list, to someone from the field of sport. So it's a very low rate. Youth Olympic Games athletes' perception on safe sport. Buenos Aires in 2018 and Lausanne in 2020. Almost one, we asked the athletes, and almost 1 in 2 athletes were unaware of what constitutes harassment and abuse in sport. More than 1 in 3 athletes reported that harassment and abuse likely or very likely occurs in their sport. More than 1 in 3 athletes were either uncomfortable or did not know where to report harassment or abuse. Now we will talk about our role as athletes' representatives. Our role, taken from the IOC Athletes Commission Strategy and Regulations document, we can see our role as athletes and our role within the Olympic movement. We believe that both the athletes and you as their representatives cannot fulfill any of these responsibilities if the athletes are not physically and mentally well, if they are suffering harassment, abuse, neglect, or exploitation. How can we help? Be aware, be supportive, and be involved. Be aware. It is everybody's responsibility. And this is the statement that we all have to listen to. It is everybody's responsibility. We have to learn about the normalized practices in sport that are really not so normal. Acknowledge the resistance by the sporting sector and the need for cultural change. Be aware of the perspective of the athlete asking for help. Be proactive. Ask your fellow athletes how they are doing in a regular and meaningful way, and be genuinely interested in what they respond. Ask them, how can you help? Know your allies. Find influencers and decision makers in your context who would help with support. If you are approached by a fellow athlete asking for help, during the conversation, try to keep calm and don't prejudge. Listen actively and show empathy and acknowledge bravely. Avoid probing or leading questions. Do not make promises that you cannot keep. Ensure confidentiality while informing that you will only share with the people who can help. Be supportive. Write down some notes. Ask for help if you need your own, need it for your own well-being. Make an initial assessment. Think of a plan of action, but be sure to know that sometimes you can only do so much. So be involved. No action is not an option. Contact the safeguarding officer at your national federation, NOC, or IF, or the IOC. Remember that it is only about the more serious concerns of abuse and that some concerns can be resolved with education or even with a conversation. Be aware of the reporting mechanism, both in your national and international governing bodies. Remember, potentially criminal cases can only be investigated by the relevant authorities. Your role is to listen and refer. If you think someone is in imminent danger or somebody's life is at risk, please report the concern directly to the relevant authorities. Also, be involved. Potentially, criminal cases can only be investigated by the relevant authorities. Always better to find support and help locally as close as the affected athletes as possible. To recap, be aware, it is everybody's responsibility. Be supportive, listen with ears of tolerance, and be involved. No action is not an option. When concern arise, not possible to have one size that fits all strategies. Safeguarding is delivered locally and must comply with local legal and socio-cultural context. All cases, regardless their level of concern, should be acted upon. International sport organizations have limited jurisdiction. It is important to know who there locally to support you. Escalation to IF is recommended when national federations and NOCs do not have a safeguarding framework in place, cases do not progress properly at local level. When concern is there, we have two possible response routes to do. The first one is to refer only to the relevant sport organization via the appointed safeguard officer or lead for handling. These are mainly the concerns related to sports. But we have the second route is possible response refer to local authorities when statutory responsibilities and to the relevant sport organization via the appointed safeguarding. These are potentially criminal concerns involved a child or children when you think the crime has been committed against a person or a group of persons. So when concern arises, your role, as we said, is to refer the concern to the appropriate stakeholders for handling. Your well-being also is important. Understand that your role as an Athlete Commission member is not to be a police, a psychologist, or a lawyer. Take care of yourself and ask for help if you need it. Case example. After we finish now explaining how we will be grouped, we will stay in the same groups, and we will solve a case example so you can put in place what we have learned in this presentation into place. So we have the case, we have to understand the problem. This slide is to recap of what we mentioned earlier about how we can help. We have to be supportive, be aware, and be involved. So this is a recap of what we talked earlier. We have to assess the situation. Assess the situation is by considering the people involved. We have children, adults at risk, witnesses, types of abuse. We have to define the type of abuse that the person was affected in. We have the level of concern. No serious, persistent, or possible abuse. We have the context behavior. Consent. Did all people involved verbally or non-verbally consent to be in this situation? Voluntarily. Is everybody here voluntary or is there force involved? Equality. Are people involved equal or not due to a difference in age, power, number, status? Behavior. Is the behavior appropriate for this age? Is this behavior appropriate for this context? Is this behavior harmful for one of the people involved? And the potential impact. We have to see on the victim, on other potential victims, on yourself, or on the organization. And you will have this slide with you, along with the case example, to assist you to work on this case. We have to identify who could help us in this specific context. Also, later, you have an assignment, so you have to identify your stakeholders, your sports stakeholders and your non-sport stakeholders, so you are aware where to go when you need help, and you can identify who can help you. Remember that some complex cases, if there are people from a specific organization involved, it may not be the best to report to them. What and how? What can these persons' organization help you with? Do you need help assessing the level of concern or urgency? Do you need help to further referring the case to the authorities? Do you need financial, legal, psychological support for the potential victims or for yourself? And when? Does the case require immediate, urgent action? Also, you will have this slide with you to assist you in the case example. And we have to act. We identified the persons, we highlighted the concerns, we identified our stakeholders, and then we have the action plan. We report to relevant sports organization and to relevant authorities. So we will be having this case. It's called No Pain, No Gain. So I want you to stay in your groups. I'm not sure who will distribute the cases to each table. Yes. You will go through the example, and I need you to assess the situation, identify the stakeholders, and come up with a plan. You have some of the slides, as I mentioned, on your table to help you with your case. And please, my colleagues, if anyone can assist, and we will move around to assist you with the case. Do you all have the case in front of you? I think we can have 20 minutes to discuss, and then we can discuss all together. Can someone time?
So sorry for interrupting. So I know you are all tired. We will give you a small workshop outside, having coffee, and continue your discussion while having coffee outside, because you need a small break, I know. So you can go outside. You have, Nadine, 15 minutes or 10 minutes? You have 15 minutes to have coffee and discuss at the same time, okay? Yeah, and come up with good answers.
Come back with good answers. I'm not being nice. I'm good. How are you? Good.
I know after lunch and after, the discussions, once they get some coffee, they should wake up. Yeah, anyway, 100% this is non-discrimination.
This time, because the fan needs to be upstairs, so
To wake them up.
give them a week.
Yeah, go for the WA presentation. Samphone and I will be there. So it's gonna be easy one. People know best.
I see they're so engaged now they don't want to have that one.
You are full?
I keep putting on and off. Well, sometimes, but when I take off, it's too cold. It looks nice. I keep it on. So impressed. All the participants are so active and they are really participating. I think so.
Tomorrow is gonna be fun. A lot of topics, but a lot of workshops, which is really interesting. I stayed with them for like an hour during the workshop. It was very good. Some were shy at that point.
Yeah. And we're going to switch tables again tomorrow? I got the request that they want to move over.
Tomorrow we go back to
The same one as this morning?
and then if the instructors think that they need to join tables, they can join tables.
How about switching in different groups than this morning so that they get to meet each other?
Remixing.
Yeah.
Let's meet to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. I think we don't want to end up with bases that are not well, they don't have much time or space to really discuss about something during the forum anyway. So giving them a chance to sit together and meeting each other, that will help their communication later on. So yeah, I think it was great that we arranged the tables, but now it's okay to
Just
go.
join tables.
Or they can sit where.
Join tables. You can join tables. 6 participants.
Yeah. Or are we doing any discussion by the tables tomorrow again?
We have a lot of discussions.
We can say just sit Yeah.
Ready to serve.
And even myself, I feel closer to IOC team, not like guests. We are together with OCA and IOC for the same purpose.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
الأتليت الكريم. Are we ready to present? Are we ready? Did everyone finish? Are you ready? Who wants to start? Which group would like to share first? East Asia. Please.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee from Hong Kong. So in this case, we have many discussions as our group because in East Asia country, culture is very typical.
So it's important that,
typical
you
culture.
highlighted culture. This is very important.
Because the parents of our country, we hope our kid to be successful, to have goal-oriented. So it's kind of like many kids have struggling in this age. So what our suggestions is, first, we have to talk with the kids and know what's their feeling.
Yes.
Knows what they really love and what's their target, and we have to analyze to him if their career path and what's the consequence as in the couple of next years. And the other part is if their parents, as a former professional athlete, and the federation also know this kid have the talent, I think we should have to as the parents have to communicate with the federation, see we can keep to watching this kid how to growing up, maybe at the moment not start too early to have the elite training. Maybe a couple of next year, see how the kids, if really motivated to have a train, we can continue. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Southeast.
Hi, we are from the Southeast Asia, so we try to make this general. Okay. When we assess the situation, so we had identified that the child is definitely at risk. Okay? The potential victims, other children, other athletes, adults at risk, potentially parents, this parent or other parents, and the alleged perpetrators could be the coach and the federations. And then looking at the second part, the type of abuse, we see neglect potentially, yeah, and the child is overtraining. So overtraining, it could be physical, yeah, and then pushing the child to exhaustion, and no social interaction means the psychological part. Okay, the third part is the level of concern. So this is, I think, for everybody, we agree that it's seriously high, correct? Especially we are risking this child and
do you believe as a group that they received the consent or not yet? Did the parents approve?
Sorry?
Did they receive the consent approved for the child to go or not yet? No. Okay.
No. Okay. No.
No. Okay.
Sorry. All right. It's We're tired, I think.
I know.
Then the context, the fourth part, the context. I think between the school, because obviously the academics want performance. And then the training part, training center, they want also performance. So there's no proper communication, I think. We didn't realize that, apparently this child is overtrained or the child worked hard in school. So that one. And then the child is also undergoing school in the morning, in the afternoon training, and at night they're having extra class and so forth. So this is the context. Which lead us to think about, should we consider something for the child? So it's the action plan. Now, what we need to do, rather than speak directly to the mother, so we talk to the child because their voice matters. Okay, whether we need to consider all this because we need to collect data gathering, data input. Okay. And then the mother has also need to speak to the school concerning telling the school that this child is undergoing training, with number of hours and so forth. At the same time, she needs to engage the training center and telling that the child is undergoing this study. This kind of communication requires the mother to speak, on behalf, and to get overall overview or idea on what's going on. And we also would like to propose to the mother to talk to other parents. She might want to consider other points as well. So from here, we have two scenarios. Number one, scenario one, what do you call this? Scenario one, whereby the student will move to another school, sports school or training center, whereby it is more structured in terms of training and academics. It's more balanced, and someone will be able to focus on the student or the athlete. And then the reason for the sports school, because they can see, as I mentioned, the overall structure, how can we balance the student and so forth. Scenario two, the student will need to stay in the school, and the parent, as a parent, the mother, she will need to communicate this, engage the school and the training center a lot of time, telling concern with the child overtraining, over blah, 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 and so forth.
Thank you so much. You deserve that. Can you tell us? Your turn. Okay, I can come back. It's fine. South Asia.
Hi, thank you. We from South Asia took into consideration the fact that this is gymnastics that we are looking at. So that was the first concern that we had. And from our point of view, the persons involved were the parent and the National Federation. And we didn't see any information on the card about the athlete being of any concern. So we decided it's going to be parent and the national federations would be the persons involved. And the type of abuse, similar to the other Southeast Asian, we had psychological and physical, and differently we thought neglect is maybe in there, because again, we are talking about the parent who's of concern. The level of concern, we decided it's going to be possible abuse, because again, going back to the fact that it's gymnastics and they start very young, so we decided it's going to be a possible abuse, case of possible abuse there. The context of behavior, so from those we decided, we came to the conclusion it's behavior, not consent, the voluntarily or equalities doesn't come into effect. The potential impact would be on other potential victims. So again, another parent in this case, whereas this case is all about the mother and with her concerns regarding the timings. moving forward, the design, we tried to design an action plan. There were different, very, very different opinions, but we decided the mother or the us who she had came to would have to talk to the National Federation, because the National Federation is pushing her to do so, because they won't be in contact with the coach. And how would be giving them guidance and further referral. Yeah. And then when it is a case of immediate and urgent attention, which requires. Thank you.
Thank you so much. West Asia.
To avoid redundancy, I think I'm just gonna cycle through the points pretty quickly. So, like most of you have already said, the people involved are definitely the boy who's 12 years old, the parents, the school, the high performance center as well. In terms of types of abuse, it's an example of psychological and physical abuse. Physical abuse because of potential overtraining, and psychological abuse because first we already see the effect, negative that it's having on the child, and because having a lot of pressure of success from an early age before reaching maturity can be detrimental. In terms of the level of concern, I would say it's medium to high, specifically because of the fact that we already see negative effects of this high load of training in drops in grades and social interactions with friends, and constantly constantly hurting. That being said, there are nuances of the sport of gymnastics, but still in general, it would be categorized as medium to high. In terms of the context and behavior, there was no consent given by the parents, and the potential impact would be on the victim. This is reading from this, but on the boy, and further on other athletes in the future, because if this is normalized, the culture surrounding high performance and stress will also become normalized as well. So we wouldn't recommend placing the boy in the high performance center right now. Thank you.
Thank you. The last group. Last group.
After making decision, the first option is children, and the boy is 12 years old, and he started doing exercise at 6 years old. And for 12 years old, 4 hours a day and 6 days a week is too much. And as they mentioned, he cannot focus on study and school work as well. And the type of abuse is, I think, after making decision, is physical. And the level of concern is no serious safeguarding implication. The contest behavior is consent, as they make decision as well. And the potential impact is on the victim. So our recommendation is, as I said at the beginning, for 12 years old is doing exercise for 4 hours or 6 days a week is too much. It's better to change the time, or to make it less for those age. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Really, we had a lot of opinions. Some people took into consideration the culture. Some took from their point of view. So it's good always to study the circumstances of the situation before taking any decision. I need the clicker. Thank you. Any questions? In general, from the whole presentation. I know that everyone is tired. Feel free to contact us at any time you want. If anyone has any question, he can come and ask. I will be here the whole time, or later, when you go back home, you can email us with any concerns, requests, or questions. I have a small assignment for you to take back home, and we can share with you the Excel sheet later. It's about identifying your stakeholders, as I mentioned, your sport organizations, and your non-sport organization. So when a case arises, you can know who to refer to. And here's are the resources. And we always have to remember the 3 values of Olympism: friendship, working together to address safeguarding in sport cohesively at all levels, and excellence is in our approach. This also means placing the voice of the athletes at the center, and respect for each other and for the integrity of sport. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. And I know it's a lot for... their activity targeting safeguarding.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zavera Ramalinu. I am chairman of Athlete Commission. I am table tennis champion for 16 times. For this reason, my name has recorded in Guinness Book of World Record. I like to present my presentation now. Safeguarding for athletes. Safeguarding means protecting athletes from abuse and maltreatment, preventing harm to athletes, health to development, ensuring athletes grow up with the provision of safe and effective care. The 6 principles of safeguarding: empowerment, prevention, proportionality, protection, partnership, accountability. Safeguarding concern. A child and a young person's safeguarding concern is when they are living in circumstances where there is a significant risk for abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, or neglect. How to face safeguarding concern. Concerns, inquiry, safeguarding plan and review, closing the inquiry. Glimpse of safeguarding seminar arranged by Athlete Commission of NOC Bangladesh. With the Athlete Content Project Fund Olympic Council of Asia Bangladesh Olympic Association organizes safeguarding seminar for young athletes on 22nd October 2022 at BOA Dutch Bangla Bank Auditorium. 149 male and female athletes aged between 15 to 35 years from 25 different Olympic disciplines participated in the seminar in two shifts. Boys participated in the seminar on the morning shift, and girls participated in the seminar on the day shift. The average age of the participants was 24 years. Glimpse of safeguarding seminar arranged by Athlete Commission of NOC Bangladesh. Male participants, female participants. The seminar follow. The introduction of safeguarding, identification to safeguarding concern, risks and seriousness of safeguarding concern, collective support to the person who forced safeguarding issues, responsibility of the participants to stop safeguarding issues. Seminar booklet. Role NOC Bangladesh Athlete Commission of Safeguarding of Athletes. Athletes Commission is keen to reinforce their continued commitment and priority towards athletes' well-being, creating awareness among athletes regarding safeguarding concern, building up the safeguarding culture throughout the sports community, resolving the safeguarding concern among the athletes. Here is my speech. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for NOC Bangladesh for this project through the Athlete Center Project Fund. I think it's always great to see some best practices, especially after today. I think you can go back, use the fund, both the IOC and OCA fund, to implement your projects targeting safeguarding and other topics. So first, before jumping to the last section, which is the presentation from Jovina from the World Olympian Association, I would like to announce that at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a small welcome dinner at the same place where we had the lunch, the room just next to this room, 7 o'clock. So you don't need even to change, so you can just go casual to this dinner. So at 7 o'clock, exactly after we finish. We still have only the first. We will start with the OLI certificate ceremony for the Olympians. Jovina will explain more about the ceremony, and then we're going to have a presentation regarding the World Olympian Association. First, I would like to welcome on stage Jovina Chu, WA Development Manager of Asia.
On your feet. All right, if I say hello, you say hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. All right, thank you for entertaining me. You can go to your neighbor and say hello or hi in your own language. All right, okay, enough. All right, you can take a seat now. Thank you. All right, so as Tony mentioned, we will be doing a OLY ceremony. So the OLY ceremony is for the Olympians, and it's great that we actually have 33 Olympians here today. So I just want to share a little bit about what OLY is and what this ceremony is about. So OLY is an honorary title bestowed upon Olympians. So it recognizes the hard work, dedication, and perseverance it takes to compete on the sport's greater stage. So like a PhD, Olympians can use OLY at the back of their names. as a regular reminder of their status in society, their commitment to furthering the Olympic ideals. So Olympians, you are ambassadors and role models in your countries. OLY was launched by World Olympians Association in 2017. And we have a database of over 20,000 Olympians who are now using OLY. So this global community spans all ages, sports, nationalities, and it's a testament to the unifying power of sport. So I think that's what we spoke about quite a bit, about how sport is a promoter of peace, and Olympians and athletes, you all play a role in that. So there are 7.8 billion people in the world and about 100,000 living Olympians. So you are part of a special group. OLY lets the world know you are part of that group and the values that you stand for. So I hope that you use your OLY with pride, and also let's use the power of sport to make the world a better place. So with that, I would like to invite WA Vice President Mikako Kotani, OLY, who wears many hats, and also Zhang Hong, OLY, who is a WA ESCO member. Yeah, so I probably forgot to introduce myself. My name is Jovina. I'm from Singapore. Competed in the sport of sailing in Rio 2016. So, yeah, cool. Can you get you on the stage, actually? Up on the stage. So all right, so how we will, and also get Tony up on stage. Oh, so you do it there, or? No, when you? Yeah, so Olympians, if you want to stand up, we will do this by alphabetical order of your first name. So those who start with A, you probably know who you are.
I will start first with Abbas Ghali from Kuwait. Adnan Al-Mintfaj, Iraq. Ahmad Hazir, Lebanon. Alia Bushnak, Jordan. Aparna Popat, India. Buthaina Aid Al-Yaqubi, Oman.
Chalun Sok, Udong Phan, Laos. Chamara Ripiyalaj, Sri Lanka. I apologize if I call names wrongly. Chanatip Songkam, Thailand. Lin Jianru, Chinese Taipei. Han Song from People's Republic of China.
Yes, you can call the other one. Hailey.
Haley Chan, Hong Kong.
حسين علي ريزا سعودي عربيا.
Jesse King, Lacuna, Philippines.
كريم عناب جوردن.
Kiri Ham, Cambodia. Mariana Diaz Jimenez, Timor-Leste.
Mariana Sahakian, Lebanon.
Mamzuna Choreva, Tajikistan.
ميردان أتايف، تركمانستان. نور العماري، عراق. Just 1 second.
Om Prakash, India. Rashika Udugampola, Sri Lanka. Rohula Nipka, Afghanistan. Feng Shanshan, People's Republic of China. Selina Fafe, Laos. Yang Soo-jin, South Korea. Yeah, this one first. This one. Sotiera Shove, Cambodia. Sumia Dosuran, Mongolia. Suryo Agung Wibowo, Indonesia. You're almost there, guys. All right, can I also get all the Olympians to come up? We will take a group photo after this as well. Takeshi Matsuda, Japan. Lien Te An, Chinese Taipei.
Yusuf Mirza Al Hamadi, United Arab Emirates.
All right, can I get all the Olympians with your certificates to come up? Yeah. All right, all with your certificates. After. All right. Can I also invite the IOC Athletes Commission, since you're all Olympians as well, to come up and join in the photo. And I know I see Mark Che, who is also an Olympian, so come on in. I mean, I don't know who else is here. If you're, feel free to come in and. Oh, I'm beside someone very tall. Come in, yeah. Let's get the IOC AC. Yeah.
Olympians.
All right. Later. Come find me after. I mean,
Tomorrow I should come or today I should?
anytime you find me, I'll be around. Thank you. Just. Yeah, they can print it here, I think. All right. So I promise to keep mine short because I know I'm standing what's between, well, I mean, dinner's at 7, so I won't go all the way till 7. But I also just wanted to briefly talk about World Olympians Association. I think I spoke to a number of people and not everyone knows about World Olympians Association. Cool. So actually just wondering, a show of hands, who have seen or who have heard of World Olympians Association before? Yeah, okay. Definitely less than half the room. So let me figure out this clicker. All right, so World Olympians Association is an organization exclusively for Olympians. So our mission is to empower Olympians so that you can be empowered and go out to your communities and to your societies to make the world a better place. Yeah, so I think as what I mentioned earlier, there are 100,000 living Olympians across the globe. And we have a network of 20,000 Olympians using OLY, which is the ceremony we just did. And I will actually just throw it out now to Husan, who I know looks very busy right now. Husan. Yeah, I want to get you to share what does the OLY mean to you. I don't know if you can. Sorry, I'm just putting him on the spot because we were talking about it earlier.
Hello. Yeah, we had a discussion over lunch about this, and just like a PhD and an MBE, those letters are a recognition of a lot of time dedicated to a skill and a craft. And so it's just a recognition of achievement, and it's relatively new, but it's a growing family, and it's an instant recognition of someone excelling in their field. So it's, you know, it's up there with the PhDs and the MBEs.
Yeah, and you how do you use it?
It's on my LinkedIn, any business card. I think everyone knows what it is now. And yeah, anywhere you enter your name, filling out forms. Occasionally now there's like a drop-down menu of a lot of titles, and OLY is now included. So yeah, it's everywhere.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of put him on the spot there to share a bit. But I think the power of OLY only works if you use it and people see it and they ask you what is OLY, and then you share about it. And that's how we get more people to know what OLY stands for. All right, so our executive committee, we already met two of them that are here today. So our president is Joël Bouzou, OLY, from France. And our honorary president is actually the IOC president, Thomas Bach, OLY. So we have 20 executive committee members that it's across the globe. I'm just going to skip it because we go a bit quicker. I just realized these are actually not my slides, but this is a different. All right. So I also mainly wanted to share that there are 96 national Olympians associations across the world. And what the National Olympians Associations do is to support Olympians at a local level within your own countries. So we have 15 in Asia. So the 15 are there. I think I'm probably going to put more people on the spot now because I think Philippines, you do know your Olympians Association, and you do have events with them that they attend. Do you want to, I'm going to throw it to you and say, you want to share a few words?
Yeah, I think the Philippine Olympian Associations are doing events such as they're giving back to the community, creating like, basketball clinic, volleyball clinic. I think there's also a fund coming from the WOA. That's why they're applying for it. So, yeah. And Philippines Olympian Association is creating a database as well so that we know who's still living, Olympian living in the Philippines. Currently, I think that in the Philippines, we only have like 400 to 500 Olympians. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so I think what my main goal here is really to make you aware that there are National Olympians Associations in Asia. There might be one in your country. So it's also, we were talking about resources earlier. We were talking about networks, collaboration. So your Olympians Association is also one that you can think of, that you can reach out to. So like they do it in the Philippines. I think it's looking at the different resources that how you can combine them and how can you work together to advance more. Because we all acknowledge there's limited funding, there's limited resources. So it's about working together for the benefit of athletes, Olympians, and also in your communities. So this is how you can actually find them. It's all listed on our website. So if you go to the NOA directory, you can actually find the information. You can find who's the president, who's the contact information. Yes. Okay, so this was really not my slides. So I also really want to share 3 projects that were done by Olympians associations. So there's one in Japan that was done by, it's a project on broken saber regeneration. So what they were doing is an Olympian was going to the fencing centers, and for the equipment that were the broken sabers and the broken swords, they remade them into knives and medals that were given to the children fencing competition. So in Philippines, they have a really interesting project done by the Olympians Association where they gather the stories of Olympians from many generations. And that's how they use it to preserve the story and culture of Philippine sports. And through the online sports leadership program, it's how they empower the next generation of sports leaders, they empower coaches to be part of that and hear all the stories of Olympians and how do they bring that to the next generation. So if you have any questions, I'm going to be here tomorrow as well. Feel free to come to me. And I just want to, say that reach out to your Olympians Association. You can reach out to me. There are resources available. So I'll end it here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jovina, and congratulations for all the Olympians. And basically, that's it for today. It's over. It was great, I think, a lot of interesting presentation. Very interesting to see the engagement from all the participants. We already broke the ice, and I think we are ready for tomorrow. We will be discussing 3 main topics, very interesting topics. Topic 1, prevention of the manipulation of competition with myself. Topic 2, athletes' career development for sports and beyond with Dr. Sharon Springer, and fight against doping with our dear colleagues from the Olympic Council of Asia, Gobinair and Venera Abdullah. I think we will have a lot of great presentations, some theories and valuable information, a lot of best practices where you will learn how to apply. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have definitely our recommendations and how we will be moving forward, which is the next step. So thank you very much for today. Thank you for your participation, for your patience, and definitely thanks to our colleagues from the IOC also for their presentation. Chair Mikako, do you have anything to add? You're good? You're happy? Yes. So, the dinner at 7 o'clock. So you still have a couple of minutes or like half an hour to relax. And then dinner at 7 o'clock. And then you are free to go. And tomorrow we will start exactly at 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock like today we will start. And basically that's it for today. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow.